Hello, peoples. This is Good Nature Kitty once again with another vlog about how things have been going. In case you haven't noticed, my face looks better, so I'm excited about that. And this time I have another cat to show you. The other kitty's off playing. He decided he wants to be on my lap today. Go ahead, lay back down, Shadow. Um, anyway, oh, my husband opened the window. Beautiful. To show me that it's snowy. Not so beautiful.
Give me more light.
I think our window needs to be cleaned. Anyway, so how I've been doing? Well, it's been a little more difficult this week. I've been kind of a little more tempted by smells and stuff, and just wanting to eat certain things. And it's also been kind of a stressful week. I'll get into that a little more, but I did practice looking into what I'm eating and like recognizing, like, go on, Shadow, if you want to go outside. Oh, you already shut the door. If what I'm eating that has omega-3 and everything, I discovered that I eat a lot more omega-3 than I thought. In the morning, like, is the biggest one. Like, sometimes I'll put walnuts in my cereal, and that's like, I read that that's over 100% your daily value. Not to mention the flaxseed is also as well. Chia has omega-3 in it as well. And I had some salmon at the beginning of this week, and it was so good. It was the best salmon I ever made, actually, because I put honey and basil on it, and it was wonderful. I also did squash, which is supposed to have omega-3, but I gotta find a better recipe that's healthy, because most recipes for squash ask for honey and brown sugar. And I tried a garlic one because that would be healthier. But I miss the sweetness of like the brown sugar type. So I gotta figure that out a little more, how I'm gonna eat squash without using brown sugar, because brown sugar is not that healthy. Maybe I'll just go with the brown sugar, but why have it on hand if I don't intend to use it for other things? I don't know. Anyway, lately I've been thinking a lot about my stress levels, and I'm wanting to put a lot of concentration onto that. It's kind of frustrating because, like, this week before starting work, like before starting my work week, I got to thinking, I really feel like I put too much, well, I feel like I'm not at home enough on my work days, I guess would be the way to say it. Because, see, my husband, he works a 10-hour shift, and I go to work with him, even though I put in an 8-hour shift. And we head to work around 9:45, and I have to wait until 11:30 before I get a clock in, so I just walk around town and stuff for a little bit. And then I get off at 8 and he gets off at 9. By the time we get home and before bed starts, we have about 2.5 hours to where we get to relax, watch TV, and get things done, cook, stuff like that. And that was kind of depressing to think about. So here I was thinking that it'd be nice maybe even to have a job where I have less of those hours that I'm not at home. Maybe one close by where I can walk instead of having to wait on my husband and stuff. And then all of a sudden they decided to make overtime mandatory on the same week that I was thinking I'd like more time at home. They decided to have mandatory overtime. And I get stressed enough at work, but having to put in overtime, that's like, oh, I hate my job. And that's terrible to say, but like, it's stressful for me because, like, I'm really bad with confrontation. People, like, sometimes I can take confrontation, And sometimes it's like someone gets onto me and I all of a sudden curl up into a ball, or I freak out on myself, or I have an anxiety attack. Just things don't go well a lot of times. And my job is I work at a call center where people have internet issues, and a lot of people it's very essential to have internet. Um, and then other people, it's just a matter of they want to play their game and they want to play it now. Like, but I I feel bad for a lot of my customers because like there's ones who will get a situation where they've had tons of texts out and the service is still not fixed, and they're getting frustrated. They've been told it's their modem like 3 different times in 1 year, and they've changed their modem over and over, and it's still an issue. By that point, I'd be telling the text, shove it up your butt. It is not my modem, but you know, like they want to try everything they can to get their service fixed, and it never works out. And I think in those a lot of those cases, it ends up being their location. Unfortunately, they're just not in a good location, or it even might be that they're the like stuff that their house is made of. Some things can cause issues with Wi-Fi signals, which is why it can be good to hardwire almost, I guess. And little secret, I am not good at my job. I don't know that much about internet and computers. I just try to act like I do based on the things that they taught me. I use that information. And I'm good at some things, like I'm really good at getting a modem going, like getting them to get their modem hooked up and everything. That's the biggest thing I'm good at. Oh, but you know, it's a job and it pays decent and everything. We don't get raises, but they give us incentives. Uh, I just find a different job, honestly. No matter how much I rationalize working there, I want to work somewhere that I enjoy. Work somewhere where I actually know things about what I'm working with or selling or whatever. I love art. I wouldn't mind working somewhere where you get to work with art. I I love animals. I've thought about trying for a couple of the pet stores, but then they might ask me to play with tarantulas. That'd be scary. Depends on what area I work, maybe. Who knows? But I am right now trying for a different job, and you know, just having the mandatory overtime thing happen this week and stressing over it and having a heck of a time. There's a few times that I nearly broke down and cried on the phone, but it's just made me realize that I need to put a lot of focus into my stress levels. And you know, last week was like a testament of that too, like with the face breaking up. In which case that medicine's really helping. I mean, if you look at this, it looks so much better, and like it's nice to have clearer skin and everything. I mean, there's a few bumps still you can see and everything, but my gosh, it's so much better. The medicine's a little expensive, but for the moment it's kind of worth it, just to not have my face all itchy and stuff. But you know, I really just need to think about my stress levels and how to lower my stress. And I need to, you know, I need to not, how would you put it? Maybe maybe with time, I'm hoping I won't want to turn to bad food when I'm stressed, because I've been wanting to eat things that I shouldn't. And most of the days I manage not to eat bad things, but I'd say Halloween was my worst day because they had like a potluck at our workplace, and I made sure to get a veggie tray and some grapes to bring so that they'd have healthy things there. Amazingly enough, the veggies did not last, and neither did the grapes. So I got a little bit of veggies and grapes and stuff, but most of the things that people brought were not healthy at all. And so I tried to nitpick and like choose things that I felt was slightly healthier, but you know, I ended up having things like the cinnamon roll stuff, which I shouldn't have eaten, and banana bread. But you know what? I'm not going to shame myself for it because in the long run, I recognized, okay, this isn't something I want to do, and I spent the rest of the week going back to healthy eating. So, and while I've been craving things, I've been doing so good for the past few weeks, just not giving in to my temptations, and that's awesome. And I've been finding some ways to really make yummy things, you know. I'm happy about that. Like, I'm learning that healthy food does not have to taste like boring or anything. And it doesn't have to be complicated to fix either. In fact, sometimes I'll just chop up some veggies and just eat those, you know, just devour those. Radishes are really good for that, and I'll have carrots and just stuff like that. There was one day when I was so tempted to go to a fast food restaurant because I was so tired out from work and didn't feel like making anything. I can't even remember what I ate that day. Oh, I remember. I kind of got this sushi that, it wasn't really sushi, but rolls. It was rolls. It was like rice, that seaweed wrap stuff, and had cucumber and avocado in the middle. They should have put carrot too, I think, but it was tasty. They didn't roll it very good though because it kept breaking apart every time I tried to pick one up, just everywhere. So they weren't masters at making rolls for sure, but it worked. You know, it was like something quick, and I didn't go fast food, so that's good. But yeah, I'll probably look into not just foods that'll like relieve stress this week, but I'm also gonna look into activities. I know there's things that I used to do to relieve stress, and there's been a few things I've been practicing this week, knowing that I'd be stressed out from overtime, and they might like force overtime on other days of the month. Because you know what sucks about working at a place as difficult as that is when they start to enforce all these new rules and people, they get frustrated and they quit. Those who remain on, they're the ones that get punished in the long run, because then they have to put in mandatory overtime because we're so short-staffed. And I don't blame the people who left, because my gosh, like some of the rules that they enforced, it's crazy. And I've been having a hard time with it. And like one of the things they did is they made us sign a thing saying that if we don't get certain stats to a certain level, then we'll get coached, written up, and then fired eventually. And I have yet to get my stats up to that level, so I'll probably eventually get fired unless I find a new job. I love my job. But yeah, so like they're going to be bringing in new people, but it seems like they're having a hard time finding people that will try for the job, because like they're giving out huge incentives for people who talk their friends into working there, who refer them, you know, huge, just like good amount of money. But I don't know people who I would want to torture that way. No, that's you know what you say. No, it's more like I don't know a lot of people who really need a job who either haven't worked there before or is working somewhere worse than what we're working. You know, it's like some of the people I do know who are working, they are earning more money than at this one and everything. So I won't be getting that sort of referral bonus. And if I am planning to find a new job, it's not really worth it to try bringing on people because I have to be there a certain amount of time too in order for me to get that bonus check. So, you know, whatever. I'm just gonna keep looking for something that might be more enjoyable for me and try stress relieving things. I notice walking does seem to help. It like gets rid of a lot of my anxiety and stuff. I've been kind of walking like before my shift, and there's a canyon right near where I work, which makes it nice. You don't get that at every job, right? You don't get that opportunity to go look at a beautiful canyon. And what's really cool is like really in the morning people will like jump off the bridge and like they open their parachute. That's something I want to do at some point. I just got to find out how you learn to do that because it's like you have to be very careful how you do it. You don't want to land in the river or anything like that below. You have to you come in from one end and you have to like land on the other end sort of thing. And that just seems like something I'd mess up. But I want to do it. I want to do it so bad. It looks so fun. Like it seems like it'd almost be like flying. Some of the other things that I did this week to try to relieve stress, so it was like I put up pictures and I've been coloring between calls whenever there is between call time. And I've been trying to stand up and walk in between calls because my legs get so like tired of sitting. And I never thought I'd ever say that working at a job where you sit. Because all the jobs I've ever had in all my life are standing jobs. Like I've done like food service and retail and stuff like that. Like my first job was housekeeping. You don't sit at all for those jobs. So it's like weird like having a job where you sit for about 8 hours a day. Well, technically 7.5 if you consider the 15-minute breaks. But it's just, oh man, my legs, they just get so sore and my butt gets sore and my back gets to hurting. So just walking around. I want to get more into my artwork too, for sure. I've been drawing a little more, and I got this book like a couple months back and I'm practicing in it again. Like it's a book on how to draw people, but the thing that bothers me about it is his style of drawing people is so much different from mine. But this could be good for me, like learning different styles, because then I can see things from different perspective and like kind of change things up a little. So it's not a bad thing. I'm thinking I might maybe partake in like drinking tea for when I get home. I think that'd be a very relaxing thing to do. I'm not much for tea though. I'll get a herbal tea, just make myself a cup each night or something. Might be a good way to calm my nerves because, you know, like a lot of stuff does go through your head after you're done working. I try to like erase a lot of what goes on and everything. But man, it's really hard when on the days that I have anxiety attacks, because then like you get so worn out and you get embarrassed and everything, and it kind of sticks in your head. And yeah, I've had anxiety attacks at that job. There's a couple to where they had to send me home, and others where I managed to like catch my breath and I was able to go back to work. So I don't know. I yeah. I may even well, I'll probably look into some other techniques, but I'll probably start practicing breathing techniques too, and kind of get into praying each day. Breathing is supposed to be like one of the highest recommended ways of relieving stress. People always talk about meditation, and that's mainly like breathing certain ways. And one thing that I learned when I was in group therapies, which I highly recommend group therapies, are that so much better than even regular therapy. But don't just do group therapy, not do regular, I'd say. Both of them have their benefits in different ways, but with group therapy, you're around people who have similar issues to you, and you can bond, and you guys can get advice from each other. It's awesome. But the thing that I learned from it though is you make a box with your breath. You like you okay, actually yeah. Anyway, you wait, actually down here. Okay. So you breathe 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, and then hold 4 seconds. You make a box with your breath, basically. And it works. Like, it's one of the easier ways to do breathing exercise, I think. You just kind of picture square the whole time you're doing it, and as you do each thing, you just imagine you're going down the line, cross, up the line, and just it continues like that. So I'll be trying stuff like that, and I've been looking into stress reducing foods too, and I'm gonna concentrate on those. So like looking into nutrients to help depression, anxiety. I'll probably take it back up on that a little bit later, but right now I want to really be aware of what works for me to reduce stress, so that when I do get overly stressed, I can be ready to find ways to calm my nerves and everything right on cue, instead of like getting myself all in a panic and maybe going back to old habits. I even want to look for ways to calm myself while I'm on the phone, because you can't necessarily take time between calls, which I wish you could. I really need that time, but they start getting on to you if they see that you've spent even 15 seconds in after call waiting, as they call it. They start saying, "You're in after call." It's like, yeah, I'm stressed. They don't allow that. So like, this is not a job for people like me, honestly. But I just need to find ways, like when the customer starts yelling at me, to where I can just cope. And so I'll be looking into those sort of things. And I've learned simple techniques, but like I just feel like a lot of the things that I used to do I can't do now, because the job that I had even previous to this, I would actually go into the bathroom and I'd do certain things like this, and just, like, it's kind of a thing to pull you out of your stress and into like the present sort of thing, if that makes sense. But I can't do that. I can't escape from all that, and I can't take time to myself. This I just have to find a way while they're yelling at me to de-stress. So yeah, maybe I'll practice the breathing thing while they chew me out and tell me that I don't care, that I just don't understand what they're going through and all that stuff. Well, I try to show understanding for sure and try to be on their side, because I don't want to be that's the main reason. And I know that sounds bad. I do feel empathy for them though, because you get these situations where it's like, oh crap, they need their internet. Why the heck did it go out now? you know, I mean, situations where they work at home or they're going to college and they got to get that paper done right away, or high school too. My gosh, kids in school, they have to do their homework on computers, and I never had to do that when I was young. And it's like, what the heck? Like, do all families have computers to where they can actually pull that off? Because there's got to be families to where the parents just can't afford a computer. And what happens? Is that kid not ever get anything done in time, or do they spend all their days at the library? What the what happens there? That's kind of sad to me. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I did get my hair cut this week. Just another way, like, making myself feel better, kind of rewarding myself for going through a stressful week. It's funny, I asked her to cut it this short and everything, and I asked for the side bang, but afterwards I thought maybe I should have kept it a little bit longer. But anyway, so yeah, so that's all I really want to talk about now. Um, yeah, and this week I'll look into stress relieving and continue to work on eating healthy. Maybe continue practicing different recipes so I can find different ways to like combat like cravings, and maybe find foods that are similar to the things that I crave. Because there are some foods that I've managed to replace with some of the things that I really like hamburgers. I kind of do a turkey avocado burger sort of thing, and what stuff like that. Um, and I'll just maybe keep searching for a job and just practice my artwork this week. And but anyway, I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week. Next week I'll talk to you about how some of my stress relieving techniques went, and what sort of foods maybe made me feel more at ease, and what worked with my job to like de-stress myself when customers get rough. Maybe I just need to do affirmations in my head or something while they're yelling, or maybe right before work. Might be something. But anyway, I will see you guys next Saturday, and goodbye.